Another Valentine's Day alone. Oh hey, you too, huh? I'll tell you what, I've heard a lot of people say a lot of things on the subject of love. Some argue it doesn't exist, but I'm not so convinced. So pull up a seat and let me tell you a story about star-crossed lovers who managed to overcome destiny itself in order to be together. In the time before time, at the dawn of the Matoran universe, the Matoran laborers were hard at work, maintaining the engines, the generators, and critical systems. But they were merely automatons. They could speak and think, but they could not feel. They had no emotion. They had no identity. They had no soul. But one was not like the rest. Legends told of a mysterious group known as the Great Beings. They created the universe, built the first Matoran, and even gave life to the great spirit Matanui himself, and one of them hid among their ranks. One great being transferred his consciousness into a Matoran named Vhisola. He lived among the Matoran, observing the great being's work from the inside. But Vhisola wanted more. As a Matoran, he wore the Kanohi Komau, the mask of mind control, and over the course of 1,000 years he put it to good use. He molded their thoughts, slowly training them to feel, until all the inhabitants of the Matoran universe became fully sapient. They felt happiness and pride in their work. They felt camaraderie and befriended each other. They built city-states on each of the islands. They formed their own culture and civilization. It was their renaissance. Millennia later, their historians would refer to this event as the Awakening. But some Matoran were more awakened than others. The inhabitants of the Matoran universe are cyborgs, 85% mechanical, 15% organic. They do not reproduce biologically. They are simply built and repaired like any other machines. While there are male and female Matoran, this is because the great beings were gendered themselves. The only difference between Matoran genders is their affinity with certain elements. Water is female, fire is male, and so on. Matoran often form platonic relationships with each other, but never anything more than that. But, in some very rare cases, less than 1 in 100, a Matoran is capable of feeling physical, emotional, romantic attraction to others. Since the concept of romance is entirely absent from Matoran culture, these special Matoran struggle to understand and express their feelings. Their interest is almost always one-sided, and others view their actions as strange and uncomfortable. There are only a few recorded cases of Matoran who are fully awakened, and these are their stories. Vhisola was a student at the schools of Ga-Metru. She was very fond of her translation teacher, Nokama, and considered her to be her best friend. Vhisola always became jealous and upset when Nokama spent time hanging out with her other friends instead of her. When Nokama became one of the Toa Metru, Vhisola feared that her teacher would no longer have time for her, and became desperate. She decided to prove her worth by recovering the Great Disc of Ga-Metru. Nokama went to Vhisola's home looking for her, to ask about the location of the hidden disc, but was disturbed by what she found. Vhisola's room was completely covered by carvings and visages of Nokama, and her journal obsessed over her teacher. The final entry detailed how she planned to find the Great Disc, so Nokama could never ignore her again. Nokama eventually found Vhisola and rescued her from the Dark Hunters. She was glad to lead Nokama to the disc, if it meant spending time together, and together they managed to retrieve it. Afterwards, Nokama and the other Toa were forced on the run by the Vaki, and Vhisola did not see her again before the Great Cataclysm. After the exodus to the island of Matanui, Vhisola, like all the other Matoran, had her memory wiped by the stasis pods. She only knew Turaga Nokama as the village elder. If Vhisola ever remembered her feelings for Nokama, she never made them known. Matau was one of the other Matoran transformed into a Toa Metru, and during the quest to find Likan, he also developed unrequited feelings for Nokama. When the Toa paired off to recover the Great Discs, Matau went with Nokama to help her find hers. During the escape from Metru Nui, he even asked her out.
Hey, Nakama. I see us taking a romantic ride drive.
And you believe Bakama has odd visions?
Huh?
Which she declined. Upon their return to the city, the Toa were mutated into half-beasts by Hordika venom, and their animal instincts awakened certain urges within them. Most of the Toa became violent and impulsive, but Matau's attraction to Nokama only grew stronger. She even hinted that she might reciprocate, but they never had the time before their final battle against the Visorak horde. After their victory, Kitongu healed all of them of their mutations, and the Toa promptly transported the entire population of Metrunui to the island of Matanui. On the island, the Toa had to give up their power to awaken the comatose Matoran from the stasis pods. They were transformed into Turaga, the village elders. After this point, Matau mellowed out quite a bit, and focused on leading the lay Matoran. He still had some fun-loving spirit, but never acted with romantic interest towards Nokama again. Maybe the transformation to a Turaga suppressed his feelings. Maybe he accepted that Nokama will never love him back and moved on. Whatever the reason, the two were not destined to be together. On the island of Matanui, there was a long-running rivalry between the villages of Water and Stone. A group of Ga-Matoran decided to prank one of the Po-Matoran by soaking his Kanohi mask in water. Maku encouraged them to target Huki, the Star Koli player. However, she had ulterior motives, as she secretly had a crush on Huki and hoped this would get his attention. They totally pranked him, but as the Ga-Matoran ran away, Maku was left behind. When Huki confronted her, she admitted that she had feelings for him and wanted to be more than just friends. But something amazing happened. Huki revealed that he felt the same way about her too. In that moment, these two became the first couple in the history of the universe. Huki and Maku were inseparable. She would often sneak out at night to see him, and he would visit Gakoro to go on boat rides with her. They were both athletes, on the Koli teams of their respective villages, and would often train together. Maku even taught Huki how to swim, making him the only Po-Matoran able to do so. The other villagers thought the relationship was strange, but for the most part everyone let them be. During the Borok attacks, the swarm destroyed Po-Koro, and Huki and Maku convinced Gakoro to take the Po-Matoran refugees. And just in time. The Borok attacked Gakoro next, and Huki and his friends helped protect the village until the swarm was defeated by the Toa. After Takanuva defeated Makuta and the Matoran returned to Metrunui, the pair were separated. Jala recruited Huki to his team on a mission to rescue the missing Toa Nuva. Along the way, they were all transformed into Toa themselves. During their time in the underwater city of Marinui, Huki often thought of Maku and put those swimming lessons to good use. After completing their mission, they were teleported back to Metrunui, and Huki and Maku were reunited once again. So if you're alone today, just remember the tale of Huki and Maku, who managed to defy destiny and find love in a universe where it wasn't meant to exist. If they could find that special someone, there's hope for all of us to do the same too. Because love is canon.